Good day everyone, I'm Mia Daka from BSEDMAT, and ngayon ang didiscuss natin ay agrarian reform efforts under Marcos. Ayan, so syempre bago yan, alamin muna natin kung ano ba ibig sabihin ng agrarian reform. So what is agrarian reform? So sinasabi dito ayon sa ating source, agrarian reform is defined as the rectification of the whole system of agriculture. So the word whole system of agriculture, ibig sabihin lahat ng system ng agriculture. So under nito yung land reform. Yung land reform kasi tumutukoy lang siya sa lupa. Pero pag sinabing agrarian reform, so kabuuang system of agriculture. Okay. So sinasabi din dito na agrarian reform is concerned with the relation between production and redistribution, distribution of land among farmers. So ang inano dito ay production and distribution of land among farmers. Okay. So ang concern din nito ng agrarian reform is concerned with the total of development of the farmers' economic, social, and political transformation. So, kumbaga itong agrarian reform nito, kumbaga ang mas kadalasan na nagbe-benefit nito ay mga farmers. And syempre, ang goal naman nito is para mapaunlad nga yung agrikultura ng ating bansa. And so, syempre based nga dun sa title natin, di ba? Agrarian reform efforts under Marcos. So, alam natin na ang nag-declare nito is si Marcos. And so, sinasabi din dito na President Marcos declared martial law in 1972, enabling him to essentially wipe out the landlord-dominated Congress. And so, nung 1972 daw, so, ang presidente natin dito si Marcos. So, nag-declare siya ng martial law. And, kumaga, ang pinakang goal talaga ng martial law, ang pinakang naging focus talaga dito ni Marcos is yung agrarian reform. Kumbaga parang ang mas pinagtuunan niya ng pansin ay yung about sa agriculture natin. Ayun. So enabling him to essentially wipe out the landlord-dominated Congress. So dati kasi noong 1972, yung mga kadalasan kasi yung mga nagmamay-ari ng mga malalaking lupa, yung mga sakahan ay mga nakaupo sa mga sa Congress, nasa Congress. Kaya siguro yun din yung isa sa dahilan kung bakit may mga politicians na galit kay Marcos. Kasi nga, yung agrarian reform kasi, ang goal nito is kinukuha ng gobyerno yung mga lupa ng mga landowners, tapos yun ay binibigay sa mga magsasaka. So syempre, nagbe-benefit ay yung mga magsasaka. Pero syempre, yun naman ay binabayaran yun ng gobyerno. Binabayaran sila ng gobyerno, yung mga landowners. So through his technocrats, he was able to expand executive power to start a fundamental restructuring of government. He was able to expand executive power to start fundamental restructuring of government under Presidential Decree number 27, or also known as Code of Agrarian Reform of the Philippines. So, ito yung primary source natin. Presidential Decree number 17, October 11, 1972. So, ang balang sinasabi lang dito yung ano ba talaga yung sabihin ng agrarian reform and ano ba yung mga objectives nung program na yun, yung agrarian reform. So, sinasabi dito na the tenant farmer, whether in land classified as landed estate or not, shall be deemed owner of a portion constituting a family-sized farm of 5 hectares if not irrigated and 3 hectares if irrigated. So, yung mga tenant farmer daw shall deem owner of portion constituting family-sized farm of 5 hectares if not irrigated and 3 hectares if irrigated. And in all cases, the landowner may retain an area of not more than 7 hectares if such landowner is cultivating such area or will now cultivate it. Ayan. So, yung mga landowner naman daw ay pwede silang may retain an area if not more than 7. So, 7 hectares if such landowner is cultivating such area. So, nakadepende sa mga landowner kung sasakahan ba nila yun. So, for the purpose of determining the cost of the land to be transferred to the tenant farmer pursuant to this decree, the value of the land shall be equivalent to 2.5 times the average harvest of the normal crop years immediately preceding the promulgation of this decree. So, yung value daw ng land ay equivalent sa 2.5 times the average harvest of 3 normal crop years immediately preceding the promulgation of this decree. The total cost of the land, including the interest at the rate of 6 per centrum per annum, shall be paid by the tenant in 15 years of 15 equal annual amortization. And so, in case of default, the amortization due shall be paid by farmers' cooperative in which the defaulting tenant farmer is a member, with the cooperative having a right of recourse against him. So the government shall guarantee such amortizations with share of stock in government-owned and government-controlled corporations. No title to the land owned by the tenant farmer under this decree shall be actually issued to a tenant farmer has become full-fledged member of a duly recognized farmers cooperative. So, hindi daw binibigyan ng titulo yung mga tenant farmers maliban na lang kung sila ay maging full-fledged member of duly recognized farmers cooperative. So, title to land acquired pursuant to this decree of the land reform program of the government shall not be transferable except hereditary succession or to the government accordance with the provision of this decree, the Code of Agrarian Reform, and other existing law and regulations. So, the Department of Agrarian Reform to its Secretary is hereby empowered to promulgate rules and regulations for the implementation of this decree. So, yung tao daw na empowered to promulgate the rules and regulations dito sa Agrarian Reform ay ang Department of Agrarian Reform through its Secretary. Ayan. So, ito yung under pa rin ng primary source natin. Operation Land Transfer on lands occupied by tenants of more than 7 hectares on rice and corn lands commence, and through legal compensation and an improved delivery of support service to small farmers, agrarian reform seems to be finally achievable. Under the Rice Self-Sufficiency Program, Masagana 99 farmers were able to borrow from banks and purchase 3-hectare plots of lands and agricultural inputs. However, the landlord class still found ways to circumvent the law because only rice lands were the focus of agrarian reform. Some landlords only needed to change crops to be exempted from the program, such as coconut and sugar lands. Lands worked by wage labor were also exempt from the program. So the landed elite only had to evict their tenants and hire workers instead. Landlessness increased, which made it more difficult for the program to succeed because landless peasants were excluded from the program. Many other methods were employed by the elite to find a way to maintain their power and dominance, which was worsened by the corruption of Marcos and his cronies who were also involved in the agricultural sector.